team in the league cruises to a 37-34 win. They're 10-1 on the season. Never a doubt.
This team just cannot win by more than one possession. They really haven't had, like I was thinking about, like the last time they played a game that wasn't decided in the final minutes was Tampa. Every game since then has been a one possession game in the final 6 minutes, or most of them have been less than 6 minutes. This one was negative 6 minutes. They're the first team since the 1976 Raiders to go 10-1 without winning a game by more than 14 points. And if they win their next game, they'll be the first team since the 76 Raiders to go 11-1.
So not much.
Yeah, that team
not actually, much on the line.
That team went on to win the Super Bowl, but it really is like the math says you shouldn't keep winning these games, and they just do. They just find ways at the end, and it's kind of a dangerous way to go about life in the NFL, living on the edge week after week. I wrote about it last week, and I don't know if it's sustainable, but it seems to be. So far, it is, and. I mean, the reason they lost the Jets game was turnovers. They had 4 turnovers. But, I mean, they just – at the end of games, this team is just unbelievable. They're just in the last few minutes, the last drives, whatever, they find ways. It's crazy.
It is pretty crazy. And this is the Eagle Eye Podcast. I should mention that. We're presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. It's like tricky after a game like that to – collect our thoughts and try to talk to you guys, because it's like I don't even know what I just watched. It was a lot. I mean, it's a game they probably have no business winning.
How many times have we said that? It's your 8?
Yeah, but then again, like it's not all luck either, because they keep doing it. They just do it week after week. I mean, some of the stats in this game are pretty mind-boggling.
I'm not really a stat guy, but I'll listen to what you say.
They were outgained 505 to 378. The Buffalo Bills ran 92 offensive plays.
Insane.
The Eagles ran 65. Time of possession was 40-30 to 26-53. Obviously wonky numbers because of the overtime, but insane. Like no business winning this football game, but when it gets close to the end, you kind of feel like they're going to win the football game, and they do.
Yeah. How hard it is to win when you're down by 10 at halftime.
Yeah.
They've done it 2 weeks in a row against two of the better teams in the AFC. I guess the Bills aren't record-wise, but
I don't know if you looked it up. Did you look up the last time they won?
2014.
It's only a third time in franchise history they've done it.
It happened in 95, and we're probably the only 2 people that looked that up.
We're probably the only people who know how to look that up.
That might be true. It happened in 95. Later in 95, after Rodney Peete had replaced Randall, and then it happened in 2014. Oddly, I wouldn't have guessed that. But that team was certainly built to score in a hurry, give up points in a hurry. So, so it does kind of make sense. But it's incredibly rare to win one game when you're down by 10. To do it against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, to do it a week later, or 6 days later, 5.5 days later against Josh Allen and the Bills. And
coincidentally, the same score.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just been a crazy year. And
that's the thing, though. It's like we always talk about, there's this confidence that they can do it. And a lot of times it's based on that they've already done it. They were in the exact same position as they were 6 days ago.
The similarities were unbelievable between this game and the Chiefs game.
Yeah, it really is a lot of the same script. Like all the way down to like Jim Johnson disciples coaching defense, a quarterback who's extending plays and running for first downs. Like so many elements that were the same.
Yeah, and both head coaches, Sean McDermott and Nick Sirianni, were fired by Andy Reid. Yeah, so I'll just throw that in there. It has nothing to do with what you're just saying, but yeah, the parallels are crazy. And I mean, I'm like you. Like, I need some time. That's the thing. Like, I love doing the podcast right after the game, but like, I don't know what happened.
And there's so much of this game that honestly we're just not going to talk about. Because like not that the first half doesn't matter, because they get themselves in this hole, and like offensively it was just a complete mess again in the first half. But like Jalen Hurts finished with, we're not even talking Jalen Hurts yet. I'm sorry for skipping. He finished with a passer rating of 96.2.
At halftime it was 7.
Like, to get back to that level is insane.
It's never good when your passer rating is an integer.
No, that's not good.
But he does that, and it was the same. I mean, he completed 4 passes in the first half, I think. In KC, he completed like 6. I think he actually had fewer passing yards against the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think they had 20 net passing yards at halftime. Today they had 30, and they won both games. It's crazy.
Definitely crazy. I mean, the Eagles' offense came alive in the second half, and it wasn't perfect. But they did stall a little bit, but you look at the possession chart.
Yeah. And
I mean, before halftime, it's just abysmal. And then they get that 3 and out after halftime, and you think,
here we go.
Oh no, it didn't get fixed. Then after that, 3 touchdowns back to back to back. Then a quick 3 and out that wasn't good. Then the game tying field goal, and then they get a touchdown in overtime. When they got the ball in overtime, I felt like they were going to win the game.
I did too.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about where they started.
They started at 25 down 3.
I mean, like where they started in this game offensively.
Yeah.
Like
right.
To then have confidence that they're going to finish off this game with a touchdown.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I'm thinking they're going to get a field goal and tie this is going to end as a tie. I thought they're going to score a touchdown and win this football game.
I said that. I think what was the first? Well, we'll talk about it. What was the first play of their one drive in overtime was Hurts just ran for 8 yards, so they had a 2nd and 2. And I was sitting next to Jaws. And I just said, they're not losing this game.
No.
And I think the Bills knew it too.
I think everyone knew it.
I think everyone knew
which is really kind of strange. And I think it speaks to the fact that we've seen them do it. Yeah. Not in overtime necessarily, but like the fact that Washington overtime. But it's not like every week's overtime. But it's like you see Jalen and you see the offense and you see them come alive, and you have some faith that they're going to pull it out.
Jalen, let me see if I have this in front of me. In the first half was 4 for 11 for 33 yards.
And the interception.
No touchdowns, a pick. His passer rating, as we said, was 7. The second half, 14 for 20, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown in the first half. No interceptions, a passer rating of 134.8.
And some really, really great throws.
What was your favorite play he made? Mine was the OZ pass.
The OZ pass was very good. Honestly, the Devontae pass was great too. I mean, those 2 plays were incredible. The OZ one was probably more fun because it was a scramble drill. And OZ had to make an incredible play.
He did
on the end of it.
It was really close to being out of the end zone.
Yeah, he got a body part down.
Yeah, it was close though. But once Jalen starts running around pointing, these guys are just making it up.
Yeah,
on the
spot. Scramble drills are fun.
They are, and OZ's not a guy that he spent a lot of time with.
And I mean, OZ's a little guy.
He's a little guy.
It's funny. This is a team with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Julio Jones, for God's sake. No Dallas Goedert, obviously, in this game, but and the littlest receiver is the one who catches that pass.
You know what I liked about that play was beyond the play itself was that OZ has not been a big part of the offense. And I think he has like 6 catches all year. And he had the one big game, but over the last 7 games, I think he had like 29 receiving yards. I mean, he's just been a non-factor. And he was ready. He was ready when he finally got that opportunity. He finally got that chance. The ball came his way, and he made a huge play.
And the Devontae pass was perfect.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, spectacular.
Yeah, and Devontae, as much as we give Jalen credit for being clutch, Devontae Smith is as clutch as they come.
I think he's having the best stretch of his career as far as like the last 4 games.
They go to him.
Yeah.
In key moments. And he doesn't let them down.
That's what they need because teams are going to, and you wrote about this. I mean, AJ's getting more attention and you understand that. 6 straight games with 125 yards, it's going to happen. The last few weeks, his numbers have been down and Devontae's have been up. The last 4 games, he's got like 335 yards, 26 catches, 3 touchdowns, something like that. I think that's what it is. We were just talking, when we were talking about this, like Dave and I, like my memory is worse than yours. Like where are my keys? Where's my wallet? Where's my car? Where do I live? Little things like that. But like I can remember snap counts. I can remember receiving yards. I can remember.
Yeah, we were walking down to the auditorium the other day.
Friday, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, Reuben played 44 snaps in that game. I'm like, why do I know that?
Yeah, it's weird what you remember and what you don't. But Devontae is really. I mean, he's as close to being a number 1 as any number 2 could be.
Yeah. 7 catches, 106 yards, a touchdown.
Finally, after two 99-yard games.
Yeah, he gets over 100 today. That's got to feel good.
He must have been happy about that. I thought Swift was. I thought he probably maybe should have even had some more touches.
That one run late in the game was great, where he reversed field.
I love that run, and I love that. I mean, it looked like the Bills were gassed at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to score. Actually,
I kind of did too.
I thought he was going to score.
I think it was AJ Brown out front with a nice block.
Yeah. I think he got down to the 12. Oh, it was a play before the touchdown. Touchdown, so he did get down to the 12. But he's really become a big play guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the last three games.
It was a 16-yard run.
Yeah. And he's, he had a 35 last week. It was a big play. He's getting some big yards. And in the games that Cam Jurgens, and I know there's other factors, but the games that he's played, DeAndre Swift is averaging like 6 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And, he had tailed off there for a bit. I was wondering,
Sure, quite a bit he had tailed off.
Yeah. I was wondering if those early big games, it was at the last we were going to see of him being a big factor. But he's been really good the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. We should mention, while we're talking offense a little bit, we'll talk defense after the break, because there ended up being some good things, but also, there's some concern with the defense.
Sure.
Offensively, no Lane Johnson today. That was the big news pregame. He woke up this morning feeling some tightness in his groin. He gets an MRI that showed some inflammation, but he goes out, and I'm watching him pregame, and we're going, oh, yeah, it doesn't look right. He's inactive. This happens to Jack Driscoll. He gets thrown in there, and it was rough early. I thought he actually settled in and played all right.
Well, he played really well. And you look back to the Jets game when he had to play, and
played much better.
He played so much better. I thought he was really good. And I mean, the whole offense was kind of off kilter early, first half, really. But I mean, how many times was Jalen sacked? Once or twice?
Yeah. Early on, though, like, Leonard Floyd was getting some pressure against him.
Well, that first play, Jurgens was supposed to slide over, and he didn't. But
it wasn't just that play, though. It was early on in this game. I thought Jack Driscoll was going to be an issue, and he wasn't.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. It's got to be tough to. I mean, he didn't know he was definitely starting until a couple hours before kickoff.
He said Stout called him around 11:30 and told him, "You better get ready." Yeah,
and. It was before they announced the inactives. We were out there watching Cam and Jack Driscoll went out there and were working combo blocks against some of the practice squad D linemen. And
it was funny, though. I watched Jack walk out, and I saw a look on his face, and it was not like I'm getting ready to back up Lane Johnson this game. You could tell he's like, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just takes, look, I mean, this is his career. I mean, he started probably 12 to 13, 15 games in 2020 draft pick, fourth round. He started some games at right tackle. He started some games at guard. For the most part, he's been pretty good. That Jets game was a disaster. But
today was his 17th career start.
Oh, I said 13 to 15. So I was on the right track. I was off by 2. I'll give myself, passing grade. Okay. But he's got to have that mentality of always being ready. Kind of like what we just said about OZ. And I think that's something that's really true in this team. Like, you just think about like Mekhi Gardner. Oh yeah, we're gonna active. Yeah, we're gonna put you on the 53 or on the roster for the game day. Oh, and you're playing safety, which you haven't repped at all. I mean, just this team has that. They're just ready. They're just always ready. And I think part of the reason they do those extra reps at training camp for the developmental guys. I think that stuff really helps.
Talking to Kelsey about Jack Driscoll, he had something interesting to say that before that Jets game, because they were having some issues at guard, and they're like Jack was kind of repping at both spots a little bit, whereas more recently he's been just repping that right tackle, and that he thinks that probably helped a little bit.
I'm sure it did. Yeah, I mean, he's got to be. Look, it's not easy. I know a lot of people were tweeting before the game they got to put Tyler Steen out there. Well,
people were saying like Steen or maybe Fred Johnson. Yeah. But then those guys are more left tackles. So then you're talking about moving Mailata. If you don't play Jack Driscoll today, why is he on the team?
Exactly. That's exactly right. And he proved it right by keeping him. I mean, we thought at the end of camp, he did not have a good camp. I mean, there was some question about whether he'd make the team or not. So he validated their belief in him.
I asked Devontae Smith. I actually wasn't my question, but someone asked, Devontae about not having Lane. And he goes, I mean, we got about 30 offensive linemen. I'm not worried about that position at all.
Yeah, I don't think he's thinking much about right tackle.
Yeah, but it is crazy. I mean, the numbers bear out how important Lane's been. And I know a lot of the games without him were in down seasons, certainly. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, they were 10-22 without him since 2016 before this game.
Yeah, look, Jack Driscoll's not Lane Johnson, but I think he played as well as Jack Driscoll can today. And, hopefully Lane's back. I don't have a real clear sense of how serious it is. I think the wet field probably had something to do with it too.
Yeah, that's kind of my understanding was the wet field. And honestly, the field looked like crap.
Yeah.
Temple had played there Friday.
Who'd they play?
I don't know.
So I'm guessing whoever they played was kind of running up and down the field.
Ouch, man. Temple just catching strays from you.
Well, I'm
going to look this up and hope they won.
They won or lost. They lost 45-21 to Memphis.
Ooh, okay.
So,
well,
sorry.
Maybe Kenny Gainwell was there.
I'm sure he was. I like Temple's fight song, though.
Okay. Fight for the cherry and white.
What's that?
Is it fight for the cherry?
Fight for the cherry and the white. For the cherry and the white. We'll fight. I didn't go there, but
did you hear Jalen Hurts after the game?
Yeah, we ran it on the show.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
It was like a little internal struggle playing out in front of a microphone. Paraphrasing here a little bit, but basically said it's kind of weird for him after a game like that because they get the win. And honestly, even he plays well in the second half.
Played great.
But you can tell he wasn't happy with his performance or that of the offense.
Yeah. And that's one of the things you like about him is, I mean, he threw 3. You look at the final stats. If you didn't know how it broke down, say he played really well. 3 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. What was his
2 rushing touchdowns, right?
2 rushing touchdowns again. First quarterback in NFL history, by the way, with 3 straight 10 touchdown.
He was also the first with 2 straight.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But the only other quarterback with 10 plus in 3 seasons at all is Cam Newton.
And he did it in 2011, 2015, and 2020.
Yeah. God. We should probably coordinate what we look up. We would save a lot of time.
Well, we're in different buildings, so
that's true.
It's kind of hard. But it's really funny. Great minds think alike. So do we.
But if great minds think alike, that probably means the not so great minds think alike too.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. So where were we?
Jalen in his post-game presser.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting, and it's not super enlightening. And there was even a moment tonight where he said, I tell you guys the same thing every week. And I want to be like, yeah, I've noticed that, Jalen. But I thought that part was a good little glimpse into his mind, which we don't get a ton of.
Yeah. And, sometimes we're just looking for answers. And sometimes I think he just doesn't have them.
Mm-hmm. He said he even took a long time before coming out there to think about what he was going to say.
Yeah. Yeah. He's an interesting guy. He's so thoughtful after games. And then you hear him in his press conference in the middle of the week and he's like a different person.
I kind of get that.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I'm not being critical. I just think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He can say whatever he wants.
His teammates say enough about him that it doesn't really matter what he says.
Yeah. But
Jason Kelce was so complimentary of just the it factor in clutch situations just that he has.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to listen to that. We didn't run much of Kelce on post game, but
he was really good. I thought it was some of the most insightful stuff
really
after the game. Because it's true. It's the great players have that.
Yeah.
They have that. And Jalen, I asked him about it and he said, I don't really, that's for everyone else to say, but it's kind of what he is.
Yeah.
There's a reason we all thought they were going to win this game in the end. And it's a big reason is Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard to define it, what you call the it factor or whatever.
Yeah. I think it's part confidence, part patience, and part skill.
I think it goes even deeper than himself, though. I think all those things, maybe not skill, but I think his whole mentality really permeates through the locker room, through the guys on the field.
And I just say skill because if you don't have that, the other two things don't mean squat.
Don't matter. Yeah. Mike McMahon might have had the most confidence in the world, but there's just a calmness that if you're in the huddle in overtime, 75 yards in front of you, and you need a touchdown. And you look at him and it's just like, we're going to score. Like everybody knew that. And it's just so rare. And
want to hear a quote from Olamide Zaccheaus?
yeah, let's hear it.
One of my favorites tonight.
You have the audio?
I don't.
Okay.
You'll hear it in my voice and pretend it's Olamide Zaccheaus. That's who he is. That's what he does. He's shown that over and over and over again. A thing I always say, when someone shows you who they are, believe it. I believe that's who Jalen is.
Yeah.
Hard to argue.
Yeah, it is.
It's amazing in a game where he had a 7 passer rating in the first half, he helped his MVP stock.
I know. I mean, he helped it last week and he was better. He was better tonight.
Let's talk about the offense, though, because what do you make of it altogether? Because they were much better in the second half. Why is it taking so long to get there?
It's a great question. I don't have an answer. I don't know if it's one thing. I think part of it is, I think part of it's play calling. I think part of it is just not having the intensity at the start of games. I think when you're 10-1, maybe that's, it was a short week, but I mean, it's been, the last 2 weeks have been similar, almost identical. I just don't know. I'd like to see Brian Johnson do some things to jumpstart the offense. I didn't like the first 3 play calls.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
Yeah.
It's funny. I didn't think he had a good first half, but you can't, it's like, I'm speaking to some fans here. You can't kill him for the first half and ignore the contributions he made in the second half.
Yeah. And he's still new at this. This is his 11th game as an OC.
With that said, I did not think he had a good first half.
Right. No, I agree. So I think it was that. I think he tends to not run the ball until he needs to. And I'd like to see him, get the running game going earlier. And it's really been a thing where we're going to throw. Well, it's not going so well. Either Jalen's getting sacked all the time like last week or just not completing any passes like this week. Let's run the ball and try to get some balance going. And then they start making plays. And once you start running the ball, it's easier to throw the ball because the defense doesn't know what you're doing. I think that's a big part of it. Yeah.
And it wasn't all play calling in the first half. I thought Jalen was playing poorly.
He was 2 for 9 at one point. He was just missing guys.
The fumble I put on him, it was a read play to Gainwell, and he started to put it in his chest, then pulled it back, and then tried to put it again.
Yeah,
that's rough. Gainwell's got a guy coming at him, and the interception is it's a little fluky because it's another option play, but Jalen did throw it at the guy.
Yeah,
then he got tipped and intercepted. I didn't think he had a good first half. I thought he was indecisive for sure.
For sure. He took 1 sack where he was just
he's spinning around.
What are you doing?
Yeah. But man, all that to me, makes it more impressive to see what he does in the second half.
Right.
It's none of it even happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I wrote my observations. I've never seen a guy who's so nonplussed at poor plays, turnovers, mistakes, interceptions, penalties. So it's they never happened. They don't affect him. And that enables him to play the way he's capable of in the second. I think a lot of quarterbacks after the first half that he had aren't doing what he did in the second half because they're down on themselves. Maybe their confidence is a little shaken.
Especially after a 3 and out. There's some excitement. We get the ball and then you go the quickest 3 and out ever.
Yeah.
And still you just, plenty of time.
Yeah.
You want to go through the overtime sequence a little bit?
Yeah, let's do that.
My favorite part of this game actually happened before overtime began, and I didn't know about it until after
BG?
the game. BG.
That was great. Yeah.
Unbelievable. If you guys haven't seen the clip, it's worth finding.
He's the best.
He's the best. After the Bills win the toss and they're going to receive, BG, you just hear BG yelling, "It don't matter."
Oh, that's so BG.
So funny.
Yeah.
And he backed it up.
Yeah.
How about that sack he had in the fourth quarter?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
He's really good.
In his 189th game as an Eagle, setting the franchise mark to then have a huge sack at 35 years old in the fourth quarter of a game.
Yeah. He can still play, and they're using him the right way. They're not overusing him. I mean, he's just the best. I mean, he came over to us before the game. We're set up for our TV, and he's just like he's running down the tunnel. He just comes over to give us a hug. It's like that's just. I mean,
he's the best.
He's one of my favorite guys.
Yeah,
and just what he overcame his first few years.
It's almost perfect that he is now what he's become.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I don't know, like what percentage of humans could make it through that and be the same person on the other side.
One.
It's unbelievable.
1%.
One person. I mean, things were bad for him here. Even in like 2014, we all thought he was going to get cut.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was ugly. It was bad.
Yeah.
But he's
189 games.
And now he's played more games than anybody in Eagles history.
It's really cool.
And I'm starting to think maybe he'll be back next year.
He's always said he wants to play 15.
He's always said he wants to play 15.
He's tied with Chuck Bednarik for 14 seasons.
Yeah.
No one's ever played 15 seasons as an Eagle.
It's incredible.
He has a chance.
I've doubled that.
You haven't taken the wear and tear.
No, I haven't. My rep count's been really low.
All right. So overtime after the BG moment, the Bills get the football through 25. They start moving it.
Yeah.
A little bit. Some big third down pickups. And
What do you think of the rough? Well, we'll get to that.
The roughing?
Yeah.
Letter
of the law.
There was a little acting involved, but I thought it was a roughing.
Helmet. It was helmet to helmet, I guess.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On Nicholas Morrow's part. So, I think there was acting involved. I thought Josh Allen sold it, and I understand why it's frustrating, but you can't do it.
You can't do it. And those are huge yards. That got down to the 26?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the roughing was bad. And then, Josh Allen was killing them with his legs all game. He had the 39 scramble for 15 yards, picked up the first down, and then 2 plays later was the roughing. You know what was one of my favorite plays of this game?
Yeah, and it was my favorite play, too. Jordan Davis.
It's
unbelievable.
On their, what was it, the 91st play.
And he probably played about 60 of them.
He had to play a ton because Fletcher got hurt in this game with a groin injury. Milton Williams already out. Moro Ojimo maybe played a couple snaps all game. So it's a short bench. Jalen Carter's banged up during this. So you're struggling to find bodies.
It was
out there.
He's 335.
He's 335 pounds, running down a really fast quarterback, changes the angle enough. It ends up being a 3-yard gain.
4-yard gain, I think.
Was it 4?
I think it was a 4-yard gain.
Oh.
But it doesn't matter. It was 4. And then he just collapses on the sideline.
Yeah,
exhaustion.
He was limping after the game. So I think there actually was a little injury there. But, I mean, what an unbelievable play.
Incredible. I thought it was the best play he's ever made.
The sheer athleticism behind it is unbelievable.
Because he just wasn't going to let Josh Allen ran for 81 yards. I mean, he's one of the greatest running quarterbacks ever.
Mm-hmm.
And if he turns the corner, who knows? He might score there. I don't think he would have, but he would have gotten the first down. It's a completely different game, but instead it's 3rd and 6 on the 22.
Mm-hmm.
And then
they make the field goal. They finally make a field goal.
Well, I was going to talk about the 3rd and 6.
Okay, good.
But I mean, they had it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They dodged the bullet there.
Yeah. A little flashback of MVS last week. It's man, this could be bad.
You should do a column on the similarities between these two games.
Yeah, very strange.
But things just, they made the field goal. And not an easy field goal.
No.
In those conditions, although making one from 19 yards farther is more impressive. So then Eagles get the ball on their own 25, 1st and 10, and let's run through it.
Yeah, you had the Jalen draw, 8 yards, pretty quick. Pass to DeAndre Swift, another 4-yard gain
and a first down.
They moved the sticks. Then an incompletion to AJ Brown. It was a little short for him. Then you had the big pass to Devontae Smith.
And I thought that was the key to overtime.
The Devontae Smith catch?
Yeah, because that got him into Bills territory.
Yeah, that really did move the sticks.
Yeah.
That was on 2nd and 10. Then you had the Jalen scramble for 7, which I can't remember.
I was over to the right.
Yeah.
Over to the right. It looked like he might have an angle for a first down, but he went out of bounds.
Man, I'm blanking on that play. That's really weird. Then 2nd and 3, an incompletion to AJ Brown. He missed AJ a little bit in the overtime period.
So and then 3rd and 3.
3rd and 3. Devontae.
Devontae was so good.
Yeah, 11 yards. Then you had the big DeAndre Swift run for 16 where he reverses field. And then Jalen gets to keep it on the 12-yard.
Devontae, 8 targets, 7 catches.
Safety clears and daylight. Ball game.
And boy, he looked as good as we've seen him in quite a while running.
He did. He finished with 14 attempts, 65 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. What a game. I mean, 5 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts in a game where he couldn't do anything in the first half. It's so funny because I'm on NFL Jesus where we get the play result before it's
when
on
you
TV.
say that, I want people to know it's GSIS. It's like their live stats. It's not
religious.
Yeah.
It's just called NFL GSIS, but I think we all
call it NFL Jesus.
Yeah.
But,
it never occurred to me that could be misconstrued.
Yeah.
So I knew he scored before it was on TV. So I'm sitting there with Barkan and Barrett and Jaws are like on the edge of their seat. And I'm like already writing my observations that they won the game. I don't know if I like it though. I kind of like seeing it happen on TV, but I needed those like 12 seconds.
Yeah, those 12 seconds were big for you.
They were huge, but just so clutch. And there was never one moment on that drive where I didn't think Jalen was going to do something to win the game.
Yeah.
And I love that Swift. I love the play call there because I mean was that the only run on the drive? Was the only
running to a running back.
To a running back, yeah. The only play call to a running back.
Well, not only play call, they had that pass to Swift for the first down.
Only running play, yeah. But I just felt like the Bills were exhausted. I felt like they you could see they were arm tackling. They were starting to miss some tackles, and that's such a physical, sound tackling defense. But they were starting to be out of position. They were, you see guys kind of gassed on the sideline, and I think Oliver tapped out before that, before the touchdown. So you could see that they were starting to wear him down, and it was just a matter of time. Yeah. And that was first down. Hurts got in from 12 yards out. What a game! What a finish! What a performance! What a team!
Yeah. What a time to take a break and talk about some defense on the other side.
You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today.
Celebrity cook Steve Martorano brings his Italian-American cooking back home to Philly. Enjoy Martorano's Prime at Rivers Casino and Steve's famous meatballs with Sunday gravy, prime steaks, and more. Make reservations at Martorano's Prime on Open Table. All right, let's talk defense a little bit.
Can I just say one thing first?
You may.
I just got a text from Jason Stark, Mr. Baseball Stats, who tells me this is the first time in Eagles history they trailed in overtime and won. And look, it's obviously a new rule, but it's still kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
Yeah. So
when did that rule take effect?
It's been a few years now.
Yeah. Haven't been a ton of overtime games.
No.
But it is neat.
Yeah. And I definitely prefer the way it is now than just you go down and kick a field goal, especially because field goals are.
That's the thing. They're so automatic.
Kick a 60-yarder.
Yeah.
And win the game, you get a few yards. But so thanks for that, Jason.
Yeah.
Mr. Stats.
Defense.
Yeah.
Gave up 505 yards today.
Most at the link since 2015. You probably know that.
Really struggled on third downs. 13 for 22. The Bills were.
A lot of those were
third and long.
Josh Allen running.
They were Josh Allen running, but it was like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. Josh Allen finished with 81 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Would they have 15 rushing first downs? I mean, look, they won the game and that's great. He's really good. I mean, he made some great throws, but it's a concern, and give up 500 yards in your own building.
Yeah. Well, I think the concern to me was, especially like at certain times, they were just like, there was a drive where they just ran on them.
Yeah.
Like late in the game. And I think that's probably the injuries. I think it's fatigue. Yeah. I think they were certainly tired by the end of the game. But the Josh Allen running the ball, like, he's a runner.
Yeah.
You got beat last week by Mahomes quite a bit with him scrambling, picking up yards. Sometimes you tip your cap, but that's a little concerning because you had to know coming into this game that was going to be a part of this.
It's got to be so hard. Like that. I mean, you have Reddick's out there spying him, and he just loses contain because he loses discipline and takes the wrong angle, and he turns the corner.
There was one where Josh got him with a pump fake.
Yeah. And look, Reddick's really good at that. So it just tells you how good Josh Allen is. I'm concerned about Bradbury. I know he got the interception, but
it was a great interception.
It's a great interception, but man, the guy's running wide open. Bradbury 5 yards behind him.
Yeah.
It's a concern.
I think linebacker is a little bit of a concern.
Yeah.
Certainly defensive tackle in this game, they were just short. But at linebacker, when Zach Cunningham goes out, I thought Christian Ellis had one really great play on that TFL, but they're just not super talented
right
at linebacker. We haven't really talked about Shaq Leonard, but would you entertain that?
I would think about it, certainly.
Apparently, he's got to work out with the Cowboys, which is bad on two fronts.
Well, I just don't know if he's a Shaq Leonard of a few years ago. He's just the injuries.
I think he certainly isn't.
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't know by how much. I know he didn't play well this year.
Team's got Nick Morrow and Zach Cunningham and Christian Ellis.
Right.
And no more Ben Van Sumeren unless they put him on the active roster.
Oh, yeah. Which I would do. He's better than some people I have on the 53.
Okay.
I haven't thought of who yet, but
Josiah
Scott would be the obvious
That's the
one.
easiest cut.
Yeah, so I would certainly bring him in for a workout. Nick obviously has a relationship with him. At worst, he could give you some depth at that position.
You really have none.
You have none.
You have Christian Ellis, who I like Christian Ellis, but that's it.
And Ben Van Sumeren.
Yeah, who did have 22 tackles in a preseason game.
Like
so I don't want to sell him short.
Yeah, did that in like 3 series.
And Nelly is the most famous contact in his cell phone.
That's right. I thought we were talking about Nelson Aguilar for a second there.
No.
Yeah, it's a concern. It's a concern moving forward too, because there's no help on the horizon.
Yeah,
there's no.
N'Kobe's not coming back, even though I don't know if that would help. But
yeah, they really need N'Kobe to be good because the pipeline is dry.
Yeah, seeing Zach Cunningham leave was like, oh man, that's right. They don't have much here.
Yeah. What do we know about that?
Just that it was a hamstring. He was initially questionable, didn't come back out, then ruled out. Give Fletcher Cox some credit. He was hurting. He could barely walk off the field, walk in the locker room. He comes back out for the second half and tries to play. I mean, he couldn't. He played a snap and was like, he was done. But he's one of those guys who's going to do everything that he possibly can to play.
Well, he wants to break Akers' record too.
That's true. You're right.
I think he has the smallest margin.
Yeah.
I think he's got to play every game to pass Akers.
I think he will.
I would bet against him. Yeah. That dude is tough. We don't talk enough about how tough Fletcher Cox is.
Yeah. It is kind of cool that BG, Kelsey, and Fletcher can finish 1, 2, 3 by the end of the season.
Oh, by the way, I did look this up. I don't know if I told you. I tried to find any other team that had 4 guys who played together 10 or more years.
No, you did tell me this, yes.
And never played for another team, and it's never happened. Now, obviously, one of these guys could play for another team, but it's an incredible achievement, and it speaks highly of the organization that these guys all wanted to stay here.
Yeah,
and I think it also speaks highly of the way Nick runs training camp. Jason Kelsey said many times, if it wasn't for the way he runs camp, he wouldn't be playing anymore. So, and also everyone who ripped Nick for his easy training camps. This team's really good late in the season. They're really good late in games. And they're like the best fourth quarter team that you'll ever see. And overtime, I guess. Anyway, tangent.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know what to make of the defense here.
Yeah.
And give them credit. They got to stop at the end. Hassan Reddick got robbed of a sack again.
Yeah.
He is very stokeable about this too.
I'm not sure that wasn't a sack.
It was close. The funniest part about it is Josh Allen lobbying to call it incomplete without realizing it's going to be grounding. It's going to be much worse.
Right. Right.
That really made Hassan mad.
And I think he was calling for a horse collar.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a horse collar.
Yeah. So that was there. We got a pool report from
did we?
from Hockey about it, as my email refuses to load in this moment.
Don't you hate that?
Where I need to get, here it is. Okay. Yeah. So the horse collar, we felt that the force was from the front of the collar and that what pulled him down was not from the back. There you go.
I agree with that. And I thought
and why grounding on the play? Basically because it was grounding.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that one.
Yeah, I do too.
Because he really just grazed him on his back.
Although Eagles now had 3 sacks taken away.
Yeah.
By intentional groundings. It's getting a little out of hand.
It is.
And Hassan's thinking, you know what he's thinking? He's thinking, you're taking money out of my pocket, guys.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the Eagles to give me a new contract after this year. I should have 2 more sacks.
Well, yeah, they don't. I mean, yeah. But I think Howie Roseman understands his value isn't defined solely by.
Yeah, but that's still the biggest bargaining chip an edge rusher has.
Sacks plus groundings. I mean, it's the same number of yards.
Yeah.
So if I was the agent, I would make that clear.
Well, I'm sure he will, but
anyway.
Taking money out of their pockets. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen.
The rules are rule. You have to take it up with the competition committee.
Yeah, but it's stupid.
Anyway.
I don't know what to make of the defense.
Well, one thing, they've faced 2 quarterbacks that don't get sacked the last 2 weeks.
And 2 quarterbacks who can really beat you with their legs, which is something to keep in mind going forward, because I think they're going to struggle against quarterbacks like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing they don't have to face Jalen. He'd probably go for $120 against him.
And there were some stretches of this game where they just got no pressure.
Yeah.
On Josh Allen. That's a little concerning. That's what this whole thing is built on.
Right.
And if your front can't get there, it's not great.
Yeah, I agree.
That's concerning. And that's a decent offensive line, but it's not great.
It's good. Yeah. It's a concern. They've been really up and down. I guess that's the way it is. But I mean, I thought they just had a pretty good stretch going into before the Chiefs game of getting pressure. They had I don't know, I've 22 sacks in 4 games or something, but I'd like to see it more consistent.
Mm-hmm. Looking up some of the defensive stats in this game. James Bradbury had 5 pass breakups.
Did he really?
Yeah. I don't remember a player ever having 5 pass breakups in the game.
I did not think he played well, and I'm surprised to see that. I know he could have had one other interception. And look, this team does get a lot of takeaways, so you give him credit for that pick. But
let me ask you
he just looked a step slow to me.
A question. It's not defense. Nick Sirianni. They make the extra point. There's a penalty. The extra point puts them up 4. Would you have gone for it? Like the 2-point conversion? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So after the Alameda touchdown, they go up 28-24 with the extra point, but there's a penalty on the
right
on the extra point, so they could have taken it from the 1 and sneaked it in.
Yeah, but then if you don't get it,
then you're up 3.
You're up 3. So no.
There was 11 minutes left though.
Yeah, I probably would have kept the point.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, probably. In hindsight, though, that point would have really helped.
By the way, speaking of extra points and the kicking game, how about Jalen Carter blocking that field goal?
Yeah, with his one good hand because his other hand was hurting.
Yeah, it was a really athletic play.
He does things every week that amaze me.
He's incredible. Yeah.
There was another play on a tackle for loss where he tossed aside the guard. He's phenomenal.
He is.
Let's talk about Chicken Little.
Let's do it.
Unbelievable. I mean, there aren't many kickers that line up for a 59-yard kick in the rain, and you think, you're probably going to make this.
He might be the most clutch Eagle I've ever seen. I mean,
59-yarder in the rain.
He's 3 for 3 in his career from 59 yards and out. And he's one of only 5 kickers now to make 3 59-yarders in a career.
And he had to change the trajectory of that kick. Like, he had to keep it low. And
it was a funky kick.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a line drive.
I think it had to be.
And it kind of...
to stay out of the wind, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of barely went in there. I mean, you know, to make a kick like that to keep your team in the game, he's incredible. And he's so, like, nonchalant about it. And I think maybe that's why he's so good. I mean, he's used to playing... I mean, he played tournament tennis as a kid, and I mean, he's competitive in everything. He's good at everything. And it's just like, oh, it's another field goal.
It's unbelievable how good he is at that.
I mean, you think about, like, the 2 Super Bowl kicks, 42 and 46 in the fourth quarter as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about the game winner, the 61-yarder against the Giants. I mean, just all the game winners and long kicks. You do 10 biggest kicks of Jake Elliott's career. I have to do that this week.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
What's number 1? I think this is probably the hardest.
And number 1 is still the Giants. I think it's still the Giants.
46 in the Super Bowl.
I know. I think it's still the Giants kick because it was a walk-off.
Yeah.
And at that point, he was a nobody.
He was. It was only like his 4th game or something?
So that's why less than that, right?
Yeah, maybe
because he wasn't kicking in.
Right, he didn't kick in the opener, I think.
Yeah.
Sturgis got hurt in the opener.
Right? Yeah, he wasn't here for the opener. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's on the Bengals practice squad.
Yeah.
You should do a story about that, how he got here. If you didn't see it, Dave wrote a great story.
I should have pumped that out after the field goal.
It's never too late.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that. He's unbelievable. I mean, it's such a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, the other kicker today had a field goal block and missed one from way shorter.
Right. And to think if Caleb Sturgis hadn't torn his, what was it? Hamstring? What is it?
Like a hip flexor or something.
I mean, just think what would have been different.
Yeah.
If he never got, maybe he makes all these kicks. I doubt it.
He was a good kicker. Jake's a great kicker.
He's one of the best. I know you're a big Justin Tucker guy, and he's the best ever. But
am I a big Justin Tucker guy?
You're a huge Justin. I mean, when he's lining up to make a field goal, you call me. He's kicking again. Oh, he's the best ever. But Jake Elliott, what he's been able to do, he's in the conversation of the best kickers. He really is.
I agree.
And he's over 90% now in his career. I mean,
and you're killing me in that 50+ yard field goal.
How many does he have now?
1 billion? I don't know.
What was the number?
It was so much lower than what he's got already.
Oh, really? I already got that?
You have to. Right. He's 6 for 7.
Oh, that's right.
From 50+. I think 5 was the number. So you did it today. With a 59-yarder in the rain.
Might be the only one I get right. That's our annual prediction contest that we'll go over after the season. I've notched 1 win.
Do you have anything else from this game?
I'm blown away by him. I mean, who's more clutch? I mean, Jalen, Nick Foles. Who are the most clutch players in Eagles history? You know, Tommy Thompson. I mean,
well, it's tough because like different eras, but some players weren't in a position to really be that clutch.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, But from this game, I don't think so.
I don't want to forget anything, but it's like
I think we've covered.
Head spinning a little bit here.
Yeah, we've covered it all. I mean, we could. I would look at the big picture. 10-1, 49ers and Cowboys. They've really given themselves some wiggle room.
Mm-hmm. We were watching the games on Thanksgiving, and it was the first result was good for the Eagles. The next 2 not so good.
Yeah, and I never felt like the Lions were a legit challenger for the number 1 seed, but
I thought they were a challenger for the number 1 seed. I didn't think they were a real challenger for the NFC.
I didn't think they were a challenger for the top seed. I thought they were going to.
You look at their record and their schedule.
Yeah, I understand they had the second best record in the conference, but I just didn't think they were that good. I thought they were going to lose, and they did. But even if the Eagles lose the next two, which I don't think they will, but if they do, they can still, if they beat Seattle and then went out Giants, Cards, Giants to get to 14, they're still going to be the number one seed, probably.
Probably. And it's kind of crazy because this game, out of all six of this stretch, was probably the least important.
Right.
But it's nice to win it. And to start off this 6-game stretch with 3 wins, we were talking before it, like, man, if they go 3-3 in this stretch, they'll still be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
To do what they've done already is pretty unbelievable.
It is. And Seattle's not looking quite as formidable as they did.
The 49ers are.
Yeah. They've lost
and they're going to come off some extra rest.
3 of their last 4. Right. You have any early thoughts on the Niners?
Good. They're a good team. But what I will say is Sean Desai, and we'll get into this later in the week, against that brand of offense, like not that good, obviously, but against that brand of offense, they've been pretty good.
It's gonna be the game of the year.
Yeah. You saw what they did against the Dolphins with Mike McDaniel. You saw what they did against the Jets and LaFleur. Well,
not quite the same, but yeah, they're going to need.
But just schematically, I think
they're going to need to play 60 minutes, not 30 minutes, to win that game.
Yeah, it should be a fun game, man. And it's kind of like the inverse of the Eagles going to Kansas City with a little chip. Like the 49ers are going to come here with Brock Purdy in bubble wrap.
Yeah, at least for the first series. see how long he lasts.
Before we wrap this up, I do want to bring up Derek Barnett.
Yeah.
It's our first podcast since he was waived. Weird career here. First round pick, 14th overall back in 2017. He gets released after missing the last 2 games. One, he was a healthy scratch. The next, he was out for personal reasons. I think it was pretty clear he wasn't happy with his usage and he wanted to have an opportunity to go somewhere and play. What do you make of his time here? Because it wasn't all bad, certainly disappointing, but I think like in order to look at his career in Philly, you need some nuance.
No, and I think his rookie year, what do you have? 6 sacks, 5.5 sacks?
6.5, I think.
6.5, and he was hurt, and then his next full season, he had 5.5. So it wasn't.
And even when the sack numbers weren't there, like there was a period where he was getting good pressure.
He was.
The QB hits were there.
Yeah.
He was playing. And I always think there was a disconnect between what fans thought of him and what.
Well, the penalties didn't help.
Yeah, it certainly didn't help.
And, when Nick's caught on screen saying it's always him.
Yeah.
So you put it all together, 14th pick. And it was a disappointing career. He recovered the fumble in the Super Bowl, started running the wrong way, but it didn't matter.
Won't take that from him.
No. So,
he had a big sack the week before, 2 weeks before in the championship game.
He did. So I don't know what happened though, because he was.
His production just dropped.
He's only 27.
He was very young when he got drafted.
Like he should be in his prime now.
Mm-hmm.
So like even when they brought him back, I was like, well, they're not expecting him to play like a 14th pick. They're expecting him to be a rotational piece. I thought he would have some success in that role, and he just didn't.
I can tell you, like one of the most respected teammates.
Oh, guys love him.
Guys love him.
We were in a locker room when like word was spreading. That, guys were upset.
Yeah, because I think like fans see the dumb penalties, they see the lack of production. His teammates saw him playing through injuries. They saw him as a tough guy on the team, always ready to scrap, which is endearing
before or after the whistle.
To teammates. Yeah, played to the whistle, through the whistle, after the whistle,
and beyond.
Yeah. Weird career. I didn't enjoy talking to the media, so I feel like I never really got to know Derek Barnett.
Yeah, same. I think he talked to us once in training camp.
Yeah,
I believe
maybe.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure teams are going to see. Look, this guy's 27. He's a first round pick. Somebody's going to give him a chance.
I hope they do. Yeah. I hope he gets to continue playing somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
and I hope this means more snaps for Nolan Smith.
I hope so too. It's a little disappointing that, like, here's a guy that kind of put himself ahead of the team. It's just a little disappointing to me, I guess. I was thinking about that. Like, there's a lot of guys on this team that don't play as much as they want.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd like to, like you say, he's well paid.
Yeah.
Just be ready. You have a chance to be part of something special, a championship team.
Yeah. It shortens the bench, and, knock on wood, like if there's an injury, then you're really relying on Nolan Smith. We haven't seen him play. After that, you have Patrick Johnson on the roster. You have Teron Jackson on the practice squad.
That's it.
You could play Milton Williams outside a little bit here and there.
I'll tell you what, BG is a lot more than just a good story.
They need him.
They really need him.
All right. Are we good here?
We're good.
Should we wrap this up? It was a crazy game. I'm sure with a little bit more time to breathe and collect our thoughts, we'll have some more thoughts on the game during our Tuesday pod. But for now, let's wrap this up. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please do us a favor. You know what to do. Rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that like button, subscribe there as well. Any final thoughts, Rube?
10-1. Well, let's see, just real quick. Jalen is 14-1 last year, 10-1 this year, 24-2, and then finished the year before 4-1, right? So 25 and 3. His last 28 starts. It's insane. It's insane. That's all.
Just a little late night math to end the podcast. All right.
I'm sure it was wrong, but trying.
That's it. This has been the Eagle Eye podcast presented by Nissan. For Rube, I'm Dave. We'll talk to you soon.